Have you ever wanted to really love something, but rationally you think, yeah, nah, nope. This is a Mazda MX-30, and there's a lot of things that I love, but there's also a laundry list of items that make recommending this car rather difficult. So stick around as I detail its fit and finish, ride, handling, range, and detail whether or not this car is for you or not. G'day and welcome, my name's Chris and I cover from an Australian perspective things like electric vehicles and more. If you're new here, please subscribe, it's absolutely free. Now, I'm going to be doing a deep dive in some sections of this video, so please do use the chapter markers down below so you can jump to a particular section that you might be interested in. But I would recommend hanging around, particularly for my important message at the very end, because yeah, there's things to like about this vehicle, but there's two really big ones. Okay, so let's kick off this review by talking about its looks. And overall, I find it a pretty attractive, good-looking car. Based upon a modified version of the Skyactiv chassis, something it shares with the CX-30, this has a number of bespoke tweaks like a battery case forming part of its structure, which Mazda claims increases its structural rigidity and improves driving dynamics. More on this soon. From the front, you've got the big Mazda emblem framed by an even bigger grille. Reminds me of a certain car that I know. Flanking the grille are the adaptive LED headlights, and they sweep around to the side, drawing your eye to this busy yet well-executed profile. It's an SUV with a sloping roof, somehow all brought together to make it seem bigger than it really is. But there's also a catch to this clever design. Getting into the rear of the Mazda MX-30 is bloody hard to do. Let me explain. These suicide doors, freestyle doors, what you might find on the RX-8 and the BMW i3, both of which I believe are retired these days. And in this day of ever-growing vehicle size, do people really want a compact SUV with limited access to rear seats? Think of it, Kona EV, Mini Cooper, or Kia Niro Electric. I mean, what if you got something and you want to throw it into the back there? You first of all have to open this door, then that door, then throw it in. It's a right royal pain in the ass. And then add to that, if you want to say get people into and out of this car, do it on this driver's side and you're in for a little bit of a slow journey. Come to the other side and the seat's actually manual, and that's a good thing because at least then you can do it pretty fast. Now, to be fair, both of these open up and it's actually quite easy to get into and out of when you've got this seat completely forward. And this one opens almost like a 90-degree plane, again, making it easy. But my only fear here is that if someone who doesn't know the car might do something silly like this and they close this door first, then they go do this one second. I mean, you would tell them, stop, do not do that. But nonetheless, I can see some damage on this door here that might have been done, I don't know, either by someone banging a car next to them, because again, these things open up so far wide, but also maybe that this has collided with it. It's just something to be mindful of, and look, every car's got its quirks, hasn't it? Getting back to the exterior, the mix of different materials here, which by the way is an optional extra, and I'll talk about that later, is well executed. You've got this sloping rear roof with not one, not two, but three different color schemes going on here. Somehow, to me, it's actually successfully done, and it makes it really interesting in something that, well, it's just not the same as most others out there. Shifting around to the rear, you've got a sloping pane of glass, rear wiper, badging, which, by the way, Mazda, where's the electric bit? I know there's a sticker on the side here which looks like a bad afterthought. I don't get why we don't have it announcing it loud and proud, because you know this is the future. This is where we're going, and we need to tell people about it. But it seems to be really absent. Don't know why. The Mazda MX-30 comes in no less than 8 color options, like no-cost versions of ceramic metallic, jet black, mica, and arctic white. Then there's premium metallic colors like machine gray and polymetal gray for $495, or my recommendation, go for the optional 3-tone paint finish in the distinctive Sol Red Crystal or ceramic metallic options, teamed with gray pillars and a black roof. Or conversely, you could go for the polymetal gray matched with either silver pillars and a black roof. Doing this will add $1,409 to the pre-on-road cost, which is not bad and actually pretty cost competitive. Coming around to the boot, it's 311 litres. There's 2 cargo pull-down spots, anchor points for car seats, but no underfloor storage, rather the Bose subwoofer, amplifier and a run flat kit. Put the seats down and that space increases to 876 litres, which for a compact SUV isn't half bad. Just don't go looking under the bonnet for a Frunk because there isn't one. Instead, you've got this mess of a legacy internal combustion engine car maker doing crazy things under the hood. Like, let me step you through this. Basically, we've got the high voltage AC-DC converter. We've got the coolant for the battery management system, all plonked on top of the electric motor. Why? Doing so means that you've actually made voids in there that you can never ever get access to, and then you can't now put a Frunk in it. By my calculation, you could easily put a 100 litre Frunk into this space just by shifting them down and into these little spaces down here. Like, again, Mazda missed opportunity. Entry and locking of the Mazda MX-30 is through its proximity key. On it, you've got a lock and unlock button that also handles your unlocking of the charge port. And just by putting your hand behind the handle, will unlock the car. And if you want to actually lock the car, you can just press this little dimple here and it will lock the car. Great. The interior of this car, very nice. The front seats are heated as well as the steering wheel, and the driver's side is 10-way power adjustable. The seats are made from black cloth combined with faux leather material that feels real and luxurious. There's a Bose sound system, heads-up display, 3 screens, and a space that feels very European and premium. Oh, and PS, if the rear passenger wants to get out this side, they can use controls on the back of this seat to actually move it so they can easily get out. The only thing I wish these seats had is ventilation. The center floating console is solid and well built. Underneath it hides a few USB sockets, a 12-watt point, and a 150-watt power outlet, which is good for charging a computer or other lower power devices. It also has a dial to control the infotainment system with shortcut buttons for home, back, navigation and music. Complete in this area is a drive select stick, which I'll talk about soon. Coming above them, we've got a HVAC screen. Yeah, screen, much like an Audi or a BMW. With again repeated buttons for basics like temp, up and down, fan speed, auto climate and demisters. You can dive deeper into seat and steering heat functions, air direction and other stuff. I find the whole system to be very good, and I like how you can set it to be ready for departure, plus have the car decide to have bum warming done for you. Above this there are 2 vents, well 4 across the front actually, but in the rear, none in the back seat. I mean, these tiny portal windows aren't openable. You can't actually put them up and down. There's no ventilation back here. So my top tip to you is if you have someone who's claustrophobic, do not let them back here. And in fact, you know what? Look, even with the seat right where it is right now, I can't actually, I've got no knee room, I've got no foot room, I've barely got any headroom. I'm actually cinching down and I'm not even 5'10". It's very cramped and confined back here. So yeah. Let's go back to the front. There's a small cubby here to store bits and bobs and maybe a tissue box. Some cork accents covering 2 cup holders that only just hold this 600ml bottle. In the doors you'll find 2 more bottle spaces that do the job, but in the back seat I have no clue what this is for. Will it fit a sippy cup? I have no idea. But it's tiny and pretty useless. You do have, mind you, some cup holders here between both seats, but again it's rather small and it just barely fits this bottle. Back in the front there's a small sunroof that retracts or tilts along with a cover to stop hot midday sun heating things up in the car too much, plus some buttons for the interior LED lights. There's an auto dimming rear view mirror. It's of good size, which is more than can be said for the view out the back. Especially when you consider the C and D pillar and then the sloping glass, it makes for a bit of a compact view, but I'll talk more about that in driving impressions. It's a good thing that we've got a great high resolution screen front and center here. This 8.8 inch screen does an awesome job showing the 360-degree camera feed on the sharp, easy to see screen. On it, you can play around with various car settings like sound, communication, Bluetooth connectivity, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, and EV stuff. Whilst this seems all very BMW and Audi-like, I'm at a conundrum. The DAB radio and music playback from your device are great, including Grace Note database stuff, but when maps look like this and aren't very easy to navigate through using this dial or your voice, because, oh my gosh, the voice assistant in this thing is terrible. I mean, let me just give you one example, and I won't even go any further than that, okay?
Say a command.
Navigation.
Say a command.
electric vehicle charger.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
I won't even bother because you won't understand me.
Sorry, I didn't understand your request. Say help for additional assistance.
Doesn't matter if I say help because she'll just give up anyway.
Sorry, I couldn't understand your request. Voice recognition will end.
Bye-bye. Yeah, it's bad. So, therefore, you'd use wired Android Auto and wired Apple CarPlay. But when you do this screen isn't a touch interface. Instead, you have to put up with a non-intuitive dial and back button system. It's slow and painful and detracts from the Google and Apple offerings. Sure, the shortcut navigation and audio buttons cycle between the two functions in Android Auto very nicely. But when you have to work in what is defined as like 1 or 2 zones on the screen, you have to step up and back and out using the dial and buttons to access different portions of the same screen. Why not just allow this rotary dial, which by the way actually has like a joystick function, so left, right, up and down. Why not just let you just navigate through all the different functions on that screen? Suggestion, I think this may be Android Auto. I think it's also the infotainment system and Mazda. You've got to come to an agreement because right now, because you can't touch that screen, it's not a touch interface, it sucks. Okay, time to get this car on the road and let's talk about ride and handling. The controls are all well laid out. To the right of the steering wheel, you've got your traction control, parking sensors, camera view, 360-degree sensors off, and your seat positions 1 and 2. Automatic headlights, wipers, controls for your radar cruise control and speed limiter, and audio controls. The steering is tilt and reach adjustable, so up and down, in and outsies, and no qualms there whatsoever. And to get it going, it's just like almost all other cars out there. So you put your foot on the brake, press the power button, and get this lovely little animation with a beautiful screen up front. You've got dials to the left and 2 to the right that shows your temperature of the car, the battery level of the high voltage battery, and the amount of regen and power that you actually are getting. And then in the center, you've got a very busy yet actually quite intuitive setup whereby between, well, pressing this information button, I can switch between a dial. I can then move it to like give me a consumption of how many kilowatt hours per 100 Ks, through to this one. This is like when using radar cruise control. And it will show you if you're following a car in front of you, what you're set to, and your total speed at the top there. It's awesome, and in addition to this binnacle, you've also got a lovely head-up display, and it's nice and clear, and it's really good. But I'll show you that as I'm driving along, so you can see some of the navigation and stuff that goes along with that. Let's get underway, and first thing I noticed when I drove this car was, one, how quiet it is. Quiet at standstill, at speed, and well, more. It's really well done, and there's no special glass here to my reckoning, but I think they've got excellent sound isolation and dampening in the arch wheels and under the bonnet and the firewall and every other place you can think of. The steering wheel is rather sporty feeling, and it's wrapped in, I think, leather. It might actually be pseudo fake leather, but it feels like real leather. And it's not chunky like in some cars, like think Tesla Model 3. It's actually rather thin and easy to grab hold of. Being a front wheel drive unit with that motor, that single motor, a bit sluggish because, you know, I think it's only got like about, not even a bit over 100 kilowatts of power and 200 and something of newton meters of torque. I left my notes at home, but I'm going off my brain here, so forgive me for the inaccuracies if I have done them. That was the detection system about forward collision warning, and I'll talk about safety system later on. Being a front wheel drive, wherever you turn it, it's basically going to go. It's an unexciting, it's pretty predictable, and for what this car is, and that is an urban mover, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not going to go throwing this through some canyons and, you know, corners and do track days. This is not that car. This is a everyday car, and the power steering is lovely. It's not heavy, it's not light, it's just right. It's kind of like Goldilocks. And I just feel that if I wanted anything more, might be, well, a bit of a stretch here, might be just a little bit more engaging, a little bit more weight to it. But I don't know. Look, remembering this is an SUV, so no, I need to get over that. It's perfectly fine. It's actually good. Now, acceleration, as those numbers kind of hinted, when you've got a vehicle that weighs in at 1.5 ton almost, and you've got a single motor only, it's a bit underwhelming. It really is. So because it is such a small motor and there's just not a lot of torque available, you're not going to be getting massive accelerations in the car, and actually it's slower than my MG ZSEV. And yeah, I think it'd be lovely if it was actually a bit more sprightly. Engaging radar cruise control or limiter is only possible at 30 km per hour or more. You've got the lane center assist, and it works okay. It's not bad. It's not the worst either. It doesn't, like, you know, knock around the lane too much. If it attaches to the car in front, I think it actually behaves better. But it's again, it's not Tesla Autopilot. No, I don't even think it's anywhere near that. Because they've done such an excellent job with handling intrusive noise in this car, when you're driving at freeway, highway speeds, it's actually very nice, and it feels very luxurious, like, you know, BMW, Audi sort of thing, which also goes with this interior. And I think the car, people have said it doesn't feel very much different from the you know, hybrid version, or like if you use the CX-30s. Because remember, it's like a similar chassis here. It's not a bad thing. It's actually, it's a nice ride. It's a smooth ride. It handles admirably. There's very few knocks and bumps that come into the cabin through the wheel. There's not a lot of torque steering because, well, no power. Well, there's power. There's just not enough power. I would hope for this level of car, for this price tag, that it would actually have a lot more power. But nonetheless, it's a pleasant drive, and I think you can't complain about it, to be honest. But I can complain about the radar cruise control and having to always press auto hold on for every single damn trip. So let me explain. When you turn the car off and back on again, it's going to actually forget that you actually had auto hold engaged as your preferred drive mode. So like right now, I'm going to stand still, foot off the brake, and the car ain't going to move. It's going to hold no matter what the incline or everything like that. It's a lovely way to drive, and it's a driving mode that is my default. Okay, remember that, my default. When I get regen turned on, so I'll put it on to level 2. It's a bitey, but it's not strong enough for my liking, and it will slow the car down somewhat, but it won't come to a complete stop. You can also push it the other way, so double paddle up on the right hand, and it will just coast along here until I actually engage the brake. Very much old school. It's the old way of driving, and yeah, just get with the times, people. Just use as much regen as you can, because you're going to recapture as much energy into the battery as possible, and you'll soon appreciate what, you know, Mazda could do this, not it does, one pedal driving can be like, and it's just lovely. So no one pedal driving here, and now I've got my double regen level turned on. Okay, so the traffic's about to move, and I'm going to engage radar cruise control, and watch what happens when I engage radar cruise control. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Did you see that? I'll do a replay. It got rid of my regen choice, my default choice. So now if I actually put my foot on the brake, I'm going to re-engage the regen level of my choice. This is just basic 101 stuff. It should be a setting within the car menu itself, and I shouldn't have to play around these paddles really at all. It's not like, say, the Kona EV, where in the first version you could actually bring the car to a complete stop, not recommended by, mind you, by holding down the negative paddle. This one, no, it only takes it down to level 2, which isn't enough bite for my liking. Yeah, it's super frustrating, and yeah, if they could do something about it, yeah, they should. They really should. Okay, so finishing off this driving section, safety-wise, everything is here. You got blind spot monitoring, front collision detection, emergency auto brake, rear cross traffic alert, front traffic cross alert, pedestrian warning and stopping. You got 360-degree sensor suite. You've got 13 or 10 10 or 13 airbags. A lot of airbags. It's ANCAP rated to level 5, like 5-star rated. There's a long list of stuff in this car to make it really safe, and yeah, and it feels very safe. It's a competent car. It really is. It just so happens to be electric by kind of just because it is. I'll explain more in a minute. I've come to ChargeFox at Westfield to give the Mazda MX-30 a bit of a recharge, and here's going to be a list of great and not so great items. And I guess I'll start with the not so great, and that is that it can only accept up to about 50 kilowatts of charging. This behind me is an ultra rapid charger, up to 350 kilowatts. Mind you, almost no car can go to that speed just yet, but they are about 220, 240, or in other words, 4 to 5 times as fast as this car. Now, because this has only got a 35.5 kilowatt hour battery, that means that that little battery can be recharged to about 80% in about 40 minutes or so. But this is it. Other cars that have got double the range and can accept a faster charge can also get to 80% in that same time frame, or even actually shorter, about 20 minutes. So if you're doing a road trip somewhere, you're going to be spending maybe a little bit more time at roadhouses or restaurants, toilet breaks, whatever you want to do. Now, when we bring this car home, on board it's got a respectable 6.6 kilowatt charger, and that will mean you could put into it about 40 kilometers of range per hour if you've got a dedicated level 2 charger at home on that 32 amp power socket. But if you use the 10 amp included charger with this car, it's only give you about 10 kilometers of range per hour, which is quite respectable, because remember, most people in Australia only drive about 30 to 40 kilometers per day, or 12 to 15,000 kilometers per year. So do you really need to have all the range in the world? No, most people don't. But if you were to do a road trip, I don't think I'll be doing a road trip in this car. The Mazda MX-30 is a good car. In fact, in some aspects, it's great. But conversely, at more than the $65,000 manufacturer listed price before taxes and other stuff, it makes it really hard to recommend. And then, with only not even 200 kilometers of range, it makes it even harder again to recommend. And as you've learned, there's things I love. It's sophisticated and luxurious interior, but with a rear seat that will induce claustrophobia in most, and for price of entry, only gymnasts need apply. I like its looks with its contemporary styling and presence. The MX-30 is an attractive vehicle. It handles nicely and is well behaved on Australian roads. It's just a pity there isn't a bit more get up and go with its 107 kilowatts of power. Add to that the disappointment of a less than average onboard charger, 50 kilowatts rapid charging, and a battery size that makes other cars at this price look so much more appealing. I mean, for the same money, you can get the entry-level models of the Ioniq 5 and Kia EV6, which are bigger, have all the same features of this car plus some more, and have twice the range. Plus, they can actually carry 4 or 5 people way more comfortably. This car is great as an urban commuter, a second car for someone who wants a small compact SUV. And from Mazda, which has a service network supporting it, add to that one of the better warranties of 5 years unlimited kilometers, 5-year free roadside assistance, and an 8-year battery warranty. So if these are the things that you are looking for, a small compact SUV, something that's great running around town in, and the Mazda brand that you know and trust, I would definitely give this car a good look. Alright, well, that will do it for this review. I hope you have enjoyed it, and if you have, please do consider subscribing. It's absolutely free. If you want to see behind the scenes content and news, polls and stuff that I just don't show you here on YouTube, please come and join me over here on Patreon, where you get all this and a lot more from as little as $2.50 per month. And as per usual, you be good and you be green.